Howdy, I'm JP Escarcega, and I'm a representative of the Luminescent Core's Candor Rotation Literature Circle group that is currently reading Jane Austen's Sense and Sensibility. Practically, I'm in a group of some 4 students, which is myself, Beth Payne, Ashley Golding, and Giselle Silva, and we've all as a group been assigned to provide you with vocabulary from this very novel. Now, today what you're going to learn is 2 things. It's a twofold experience, that being that first, there's this entire point of mind mapping. It's a different way of notation than Cornell notes, which I personally prefer, but also, of course, the vocabulary itself. With that, before we do begin, it's important that I explain the premise of mind mapping and how it exactly works. You start from the bottom right corner, at least in this case you do, and you always move from there up and to the left. So because of that, for example, if we had the first word, which is moiety, well then we'd go down to the left. Then we'd go down first to the left one, and then like that. Then if we had imbibe, we'll do it right now. So just in accordance with that, let's begin. The first vocab word that we have for you today is something called moiety. It is a noun, and it also means 1/2. Now, an example of this would be seen through even the very lining of this entire line right here. As you can see, there seems to be halves of some sort that both intercorrelate with each other in equal meaning. Now, what that makes you think about, perhaps, at least for me, is yin and yang. It's a philosophy that goes into the account that everything has its counterpart. Day and night, light and dark, good and evil, everything is sort of a dichotomy when it comes to its possibilities. And that's just one premise of moiety. Moving on to the next word is imbibe. Imbibe is a verb, and it means to absorb. So as you can see the line that's coming up towards imbibe, it really seems like as though these could be, perhaps, cans, absorbing a liquid as it moves through to the word. What absorb can be meaning in this imbibe is it can be a liquid, so you can either be absorbing a liquid, or it's oftentimes used metaphorically as well, referring perhaps to the studious scholar who imbibes themselves in their study. Now the next word is asunder. Asunder is a verb, and it means to take apart. Really, when you can see about it, this is a line that can sort of be taken apart quite easily, and it's already a little bit taken apart itself. When I think of this, I personally think of a theoretical physicist, people that really go around, look into the premise of every single thing when it comes to physics. Physics is all about the fundamentals. How can I take apart this idea and that idea, yet put them together at the same time to understand something? The next word is propriety. It's a noun, and it means conformance. So look at this line. It's not a very special line compared to the rest of them. It's just simply a normal line. That's because propriety, it means conformance. When you think about this, you might like to think about the philosopher Friedrich Nietzsche, who came up with this entire investigative analysis on culture, basically stating that conformance is the way that you stay with the herd, stay with the rest of the sheep, and you will never be authentic to yourself if you simply conform to society's conventions. Now, the next word is caprice. Caprice is a noun, and it means peculiar behavior. Look at this line. It's not very, compared to the others, they're all peculiar, but this one especially, in that its movements don't really correlate with something smooth. Now, another idea from caprice that you could take is from that same philosopher, Friedrich Nietzsche. Friedrich Nietzsche believed that practically it's not good to just look around in reality without taking the full scope of it. You should never try and escape reality as so many people do. So he only drank water, never drank alcohol, only drank water. That way he could always be serious enough. And on very special occasions would he just drink milk. Next word we have is penury. It's a noun, and it means extreme poverty. If you look at this line, you'll notice that it's extremely short. One might say that this line was so poor that it could only afford to have so much line to give its own name. Another idea of this is, of course, Nietzsche. And this is the last time I'll be hitting on Nietzsche, but I find it very important because not only has this philosopher gone through these 2 words, but in penury, Nietzsche actually wanted hardship on all of his friends. He's quoted famously stating this, and that's practically because, again, Nietzsche believed that you shouldn't escape from reality. That hardships are the things that mold you into who you are today, that hardships mold everyone into how they are, which is just another neat idea that I thought. Next word is avowal. Avowal is a noun, and it is a truth declaration as clearly seen through the means of these notation marks, very extreme. Now, avowal might be a philosopher. Many philosophers, it seems, always seem to try and declare their truth after they've understood something, which really goes into the effect of how hard it is to kind of know which philosopher is right, as all of them most of the time do try and say that they know what the truth is. Now, our 7th vocab word is perturbation. It's a noun, and it means interruption, but there's 2 ways that it can mean an interruption. First is a hiatus. practically, a gap in things. As you can see from this line, it's as though it looks like there's gaps in its own smooth curvature. Also, it can mean to your mentality. Perhaps you're perturbed by something, this perturbation. There are certain ideas that can make someone feel bad, such as death. Imagine going up to a 4-year-old and saying, well, I have some bad news, all your loved ones will die, but there's some good news also, you're going to die too. That's not the sort of thing that might make a 4-year-old feel any good about themselves until when they're older and perhaps have more time to reflect on it. You might say that it causes a perturbation in them. This next vocab word is called impertinent. It's a noun and it means either irrelevant or rude. Now, as you can see in this nice foundation for this house, the thing that's holding up this house is what seems to be, stones of some sort. But if you look, there's as though these dots. Suppose that there was a house owner that decided to get these stones put for the foundation of his or her house and put dots on it. Tell me what's more important to the foundation of the house. The fact that it's solid or the fact that it has dots. Really, those dots are irrelevant to the thing that holds the house up. Our last and final word is sang-froid, and it's a noun, and it refers to a sort of coolness. This line, as you can see, is a bit cool in its own sense, a bit smooth going around what seems to be circles, and really it just refers to when you're calm, a relaxation of sorts. Some might say that this has to do with the psychopath in some certain aspects. Psychopaths, something interesting that marks them for who they are is that they don't quite care about the emotions of others. They don't sympathize with others. A psychopath can, kill their mother one moment and be fine the next moment simply because they have a certain coolness about them. Really, it's all interesting and such, and in the end of it all, Sense and Sensibility provides great vocab words. I hope that you've enjoyed the mind map. Thank you.